What's up, everybody? Welcome back to BC Sports Cards. I'm BC, and I'm a grown man, and I love the hobby of collecting sports cards. And the reason I'm here today is to do a video response for my man BK at Mac Wax Stacks. He's having a Stachestravaganza in December and has asked us to do a video response for our nominee for Mount Stachemore, the Hall of Fame. So I have got a lineup of stashes that I'm going to lead up to my pick for Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. So as you can see here, we have a great lineup of 83 tops. Some of BK's favorite stash cards because you get two stashes, one card. Look at this Tony Armas. Tony Armas looks like he smelled something. He's got that lip quiver right there. Pretty awesome. This one right here, Fred Lynn. When do you ever see a stash on Mr. Fred Lynn? He should have donned that more often than this. I think this is the only stash card I have of Fred Lynn. Pretty awesome. But you can see the lineup there. All the nice stashes. The Fu Manchus. The Caesar Geronimo. Look at that thing. Man, that is a lip cover right there. He has got a great one. But what I wanted to do before I lead up into my pick or my nominee for the Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame, we're going to look at some stashes and ink. So what better to do with a stash card than to get some ink on it? So I'm going to show off my best TTMs of stashes. And we've got multiple sports here. So get ready. Here we go. We're going to start with football. And man, we've got some great ones here. Mr. Kevin House, look at that. Nice stash there for Kevin House. Mr. Hideki Matsui, look at that. Look at that caterpillar on his face. Man, that's awesome. Matsui. Ozzie Newsome with the very nice trimmed stash right there. Hall of Famer. That's a great card right there. Then we got Randy Cross in the trenches. His stash is just there. It's inevitable for Randy Cross. Nice card. Kenny Anderson, the great quarterback for Cincinnati. Nice stash right there. And my man, Dwight Stevenson. His is not out there, but man, he really looks like he could beat the crap out of somebody. Every card I have of Dwight Stevenson looks like he's just pissed off and ready to knock somebody's head off. But Dwight Stevenson, very awesome. Hall of Fame center there. Refrigerator Perry, Richard Perry, look at him. He's just looking on, waiting to get back out on the field, maybe score a touchdown, and with the stash. So, Refrigerator, Warren Moon, awesome, awesome quarterback there. See the stash through the face mask, very awesome. And then we're going to end up with James Lofton, another Hall of Famer there. Great to get some stash Hall of Fame ink on the James Lofton. Very, very cool on the football. And then I've even got some golf. Can you believe this? Stash cards with golf signatures. Are we joking here? Dan Forsman knocking the ball to the pin with the little 8-iron right there. Look at the stash on Mr. Forsman there. And then we have Scott Simpson. Man, he has got a stash there. And looks like he smelled something too. But looking onward to what he just did on that shot. So very cool on that. And I've even got, if you're going to get some ink, you might as well get some royalty. Does anybody have any royalty stash cards with ink on them? I sure do. Richard Petty, classic right there. The King, Richard Petty with the Stachy stash. Very awesome. Richard Petty. So we'll get into the baseball. I've got a ton of these. We'll rip through them real quick. But man, gotta love all these cards. And I'll just say, the players today, they don the beard and stash rather than just the stash. Take 70s and 80s. Those were the decades for stashes. So that's what these are going to be, mainly 80s cards. Scott McGregor, all-star stash right there. Very cool. We've even got manager stashes. Jimmy Leland right there. caught him in the dugout without a cigarette in his mouth. So very cool on that. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Juan Gonzalez, Juan Gon, man, he was awesome. Very cool stash on Juan Gon. Johnny Ray with a nice trimmed up stash there on the Diamond King. Johnny Ray. Dave Kingman, man, he was a heavy hitter, and he didn't always have a stash, but man, when he put it on, that's Tom Selleck-ish right there. We'll just have to say that. But that's nice, Dave Kingman. Win Bill Stein's mustache right here. That's what we're going to play. Bill Stein with the nice Caterpillar stash there. Jerry Don Gleaton. What's Mr. Jerry Don Gleaton been eating to make that stash? The nice blondest, reddest stash there. Ted Power. There's power in that stash. Let's look at him. He knows it too. Look at that grin. He knows that's where he gets his power from. Paul Mirabella. There's another one of those 83s. Look at that. I think that might be the same picture, though, but still. Paul Mirabella, classic stash. Walt Terrell, he's looking like, yeah, I know I look good in the stash. There we go, Walt Terrell. Ed Romero, man, look at that. He is poised with that stash, staring down that pitcher, ready to knock his socks off. Cliff Johnson looks like he's bewildered right there, but he's kind of got the Fu Manchu right there. Got the fro hanging out of the hat there, just looking important. And Toby Hara, he is just got the classic stash there, very awesome. He's in batting practice too. So, but then we've got this one where he dons the beard, but his old pal Andre Thornton gets in the mix. Andre with the huge glasses there. And they're just having a good time before the game. Toby Hara and Andre Thornton. Ruben Sierra. Kind of got a pencil thin right there almost. Ruben Sierra on the Toys R Us Collector's Edition Rookies. That's an awesome one. Terry Leach. Kind of got it coming down around the mouth there. Nice on Terry Leach. Brett Saberhagen. He needs a little work on his. Needs to fill it out a little bit more, but he's looking a little Charlie Chaplin-ish there, but nice one for Brett Saberhagen. Willie Aikens. Another, look at that. Look at the Fu Man coming down. He's up here. I don't know if he swung and missed or what he's doing, but he ain't looking at the ball. But a nice signature there. Barry Foote. These 83s are awesome. Barry Foote had a legendary stash there as a catcher. I think as a catcher, you need a stash. You just need one of those to protect yourself from foul tips and everything like pitches in the dirt. So very good. Jack Perconti, nice stash there. Lynn Jones, man, I tell you, very good one. The 84 ones are good too with the two pictures. So Lynn Jones, I mean, he's even got a little what you call it there, soul patch. So, but he has to have the glasses so he can see the ball. Al Bunbury, good one right there. He is cheesing in that picture. He knows his stash looks good. Billy Sample, he's a heck of a dude. Always, when you send to him, he'll send you something back, a picture of him. Actually, an action photo, so pretty cool. Billy Sample there. Lee Guterman, there, he's happy. He's happy to have a stash. All these were TTMs I sent off and got back successfully. And that's Andy McGaffigan. And man, he has got his combed and ready to go on the mound to pitch. Davey Johnson, there's another one. Rest in peace. He passed away not too long ago, but World Series winning manager for the 86 Mets there. Phil Bradley, nice one there. He's a great TTM or good stash. And we got to have the Billy Joe Robideau. He needs a little work there. Needs to fill in a little bit. Looking a little raggedy there, Billy Joe. So let's work on that. Thad Bosley, nice one there. Got to have a Cub stash. Ron Guidry, the Louisiana boy, great pitcher for the Yankees. Got a great signature. The dual stash card there is awesome. Steve Balboni. Now he was a home run hitter in the day. But he always pretty much donned the stash. He even took 3 bats with him up there to hit the ball. So Mike Harkey, which I think he's the pitching coach for the Yankees now. But man, he is cheesing right there. I don't know why he's cheating so much. He didn't have a very long career as a player, but Rich Bordy, another Cubs one, his comes down a little bit. He's got the starting a little of the Fu Manchu right there. Joe Lefebvre, that 82 Donruss. He's looking real sheepish right there with his stash. Dan Schatzter's got some girth on his. I mean, it's covered. You can't even see that upper lip. I mean, he looks like it's in his mouth. So, or he doesn't have an upper lip, either one. I don't know. And then we got two brothers here. Look at this. Denny and Tippy. They are donning the stash. I think they're neck and neck on those. So, and they're, they both play for the Orioles. So that's pretty cool. Two brothers. And speaking of brothers, look at this. Rick Rushell and Paul Rushell, big league brothers, both donning the stash there. We got to take a closer look at this. Look at that. Paul, they've got the names reversed too. This is Rick and this is Paul, but they signed it correctly. So look at that. Big league brothers, big league stashes. Very cool. And I had to include this one because this one is an ink stash. Rick Rushell decided to get rid of it, but then he decided when he signed this card to make himself an ink stash. That is phenomenal. Thank you, Rick Rushell, for the ink stash. And we had to include Dennis Eckersley. Great, great stash right there. Very cool. And oh my goodness, that's borderline goatee, but man, that is the biggest Fu Manchu I have ever seen. The Mad Hungarian Al Hrabosky. So awesome. Don't know if I'd want to face him in the batter's box. He was pretty wild. And then we have Buck Martinez. He was a player, but obviously became a manager later on. Nice stash there. And then to round out this, we got the Goose. Goose always had the Fu Manchu for the most part. Not always, but later in his career, he donned that Fu Manchu. It was very intimidating on the mound. So that's my stashes in ink leading up to my pick for Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. Now, this is a player that didn't always have a stash in his playing days. And so I have a card of him without a stash. And I think this is the last card he had that he did not don a stash. But I will show it right here. This does not have ink on it. And I'll go ahead and show the picture or the actual card that I'm going to enter in for my pick for Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. Mr. Raleigh Fingers. And I know BK wants us to make a case for why the pick you have should be on the Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. Well, like I said, I have this 1972 Topps of Raleigh Fingers. You can tell he's starting maybe to grow the stash a little bit. Maybe a little 5 o'clock shadow. Doesn't really count. And I think the cards before this, he didn't really have a stash. But I do have, this is 72. I looked up his 73 Topps card and he has a mustache. And so let's zoom back out here. Here's a 79. He has the stash there, but Goose doesn't. Oh no, Goose, you don't even look like yourself. Where's your mustache? So you can see Raleigh there with the very nice handlebar mustache. Very cool. And again, we also have the 82 Topps Raleigh Fingers. Again, with the handlebar mustache. Bruce Sutter there, which mostly beard, not a whole lot of stash. Almost looks Amish. But Raleigh Fingers, classic stash. And then the 82 Donruss, very awesome. Again, with the curly handlebar mustache. So, the reason I picked Raleigh Fingers is because he was consistent with his stash and the dedication to the stash. I mean, how many of these other guys are spending the time to make their mustache look like that? And so for that reason and that reason alone, the dedication to the stash, the years of service with the stash, from 1973 through 1985, I think was his last year. I think he had a card in 1986. But long career for Rollie Fingers, long career for the handlebar mustache. Rollie Fingers is my pick for Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. I also have this card too, which is harder to see the stash. This is actually obviously authenticated through Topps. And let's see if we can zoom in even closer. There it is. Not sure what year that was taken, but that's when he's back with the A's. You can see way back then he was attention to detail to the stash. So Rollie Fingers is my pick for Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. So that concludes my video response for the Mount Stachemore Hall of Fame. BK, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you loved all the stashes in ink. Classic stuff. Can't wait to see what you have for us in the Stachestravaganza coming up on December 2nd. Everybody tune into that. It's going to be epic. And always remember, Stache stache.